One of his greatest athletic accomplishments is beating his niece at Wii Bowling. He's McIsaac on sports.
I just beat her. I gave her a beat down. It was like 212 to like 105. Bring your A game next time, Lily. 742-1270, 888-441, WTSN. McIsaac on sports. Joining us on the line, as we're doing all baseball today, Kirk Minihane from WEEI, performing an undefined role in the Dennis and Callahan show. How you doing, Kirk?
That's true. I read that somewhere. What's going on, Justin? How are you?
I read that on your Twitter bio.
Oh, is that what it was?
People finally found that like 2 days ago. Chad Finn finally found it, and it caused like a stir on Twitter. But it's like, that's hilarious. I'm like, it's also 3 weeks old, I think. But
oh, he found it. I didn't know. Hey, listen, let me ask you this in all seriousness before we get into baseball.
Okay.
Did you sound the 10-bell salute for Reed Flair at the start of the show today?
You know what? I did not, and that is a bad job out of me because I was a pro wrestler for 12 years.
That is that's the son of the greatest professional, not wrestler, athlete who's ever lived. And I think, all kidding aside, very sad. But, what a screwed up business. But that's for another time, I guess.
Yeah, we can do an hour on how screwed up the wresling business is.
I will come in. Can I come in there and do an hour wrestling with you sometime, Justin, in studio?
Yeah, I would. Yes, you can absolutely do that.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to hold you to that.
I'm going to hold you. You're going to hold me to that. Yeah, like I wouldn't. Yes, guy from Boston who wants to come do my little podunk show. I guess you can come in.
No. So what's going on?
Well, I said at the beginning of the show, I'm actually a little upset that I'm kind of excited for this Red Sox season to start. I know part of that's because I'm just sick of the winter and the weather, but I'm actually. I said at the beginning, I can see the Red Sox finishing first. I can see them finishing last and every spot in between. But I can see every other team in the AL East finishing in those exact same spots. So I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
I know. Steve Buckley, every time I see him, he writes it out, too. He brings up the idea that he thinks they're all going to finish 81 and 81 and have to go to a playoff in Omaha, which, I guess could happen. But you're right. If you look at it, okay, it's really easy to do for the Red Sox, isn't it?
Yeah.
If Buchholz and Lester, as we said a year ago, I was on your show, if Buchholz and Lester are good, and they weren't last year,
right.
They weren't good. If they're as good as they've been this spring training, they're going to be really good because you have to figure, one or two out of the Dubront, Lackey, Dempster, whoever crew will be okay.
Right.
Those guys, two of them are just okay, and Lester and Buchholz are good, not even great, good.
Yeah.
Tell me why they're not going to be in the mix in this AL East. And by the way, I'm not sure that's going to be the case, but if they are, and you can win 86, 87, 88 games, you're not going to be in the mix all year?
Yeah, you are. When just look at the Baseball Prospectus Picoda rings, they've got them projected for 85 wins, which is I think puts them 2 games out of the second wild card. But that's who knows with that. But am I being fooled because they're like you said, Lester and Buchholz are the key. Their demeanor looks better. They're getting on the mound and they're firing away. They're not screwing around up there, taking 45 seconds between pitches. Am I reading too much into that kind of stuff, or what?
Well, I think we do that sometimes. I know I do too. I watch the body language, the facial stuff. I would just say that, right now everything's going great.
Yeah.
But you're down in Florida. It's warm. Everybody's happy Valentine's not there. The beat writers are there generally, not the columnists. They're 5 million miles away from 98.5 and EEI and all the negativity. So when Lester comes to Boston, say, gives up 7 runs and 2 1/3, gets booed off the mound, and then 4 idiots ask him stupid questions, and we'll talk about it for the next 7 days. Then we'll see what happens. I want to see what happens at that first ugly test. But right now, listen, this is why they brought John Farrell here. They brought him here because of John Lester. They brought him here because of Clay Buchholz. And I think to a lesser extent, they brought him here because of Daniel Bard. And I think he believed last year that he knew what was wrong with Lester.
Yeah.
And if he gets Lester and Buchholz right, it doesn't matter. Anything else he does, in-game decisions, all that stuff, handling the clubhouse even, doesn't matter. If he gets those guys pitching well, he has done his job.
Yeah, I think the manager position is one that's highly overrated in baseball. As long as you can do more to kill a team than you can do, as we saw last year, than you can do to help it. As long as you're not steering the Exxon Valdez into the rocks, you can have guys that make those baseball decisions. But yeah, I was excited for the hire just for the fact that, like you said, I think he was the unnamed source in the Herald article saying, I know how to fix Lester. He's doing this, and this wrong. And it was right after he gave up 10 runs in an inning or something to the Blue Jays. So that
right.
So
yeah, I don't think Joe Torre was a buffoon in St. Louis, and I don't think he was a genius in New York. I don't think Terry Francona was a buffoon in Philadelphia, and I don't think he was a genius in Boston. If you have good players, generally you win. Now, there's a talent in figuring out how to juggle stuff, and Francona did that forever. There's talent there.
Yeah.
We'll see if Farrell has it, but this is not like basketball. I think where you see these coaches come in time and time again and turn things around. In baseball, if you have good talent, and have really good pitching, you're going to win. And I'd love to make it more complicated than pitching for the Red Sox, but I really don't believe it is.
Yeah, I think the lineup's going to be okay, but yeah, the pitching, and I'm excited about the bullpen too. I'm full of optimism, Kirk, which is rare for me.
You okay? I know it's been what's it? So if they lose 11-2 opening day, you're done, or are you?
That's it. I'm out.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, no, the bullpen should be. Listen, the bullpen's the one thing I think we all agreed on is going to be good. Now that probably means they're going to stink.
Right.
But I mean, if you look at it, the bullpen's going to be pretty good. The lineup's going to be okay. I mean, look, so much of it depends on when Ortiz is going to come back. And the rotation should be okay. If you ask me right now, put a gun to my head, have me do the AL East, I'd pick Tampa first, I'd pick Toronto second, I'd pick New York third, Boston fourth, and Baltimore fifth. But you know what? 2 weeks from now, if you ask me again, you could shake it up and do it again in any other different direction. You're right. If you told me any team in the division would win 90 games or lose 90 games, I don't think I'd fall over stunned.
Right on. Yeah, I'm the same way. We're talking with Kirk Minihane of WEEI, performing an undefined role in the Dennis and Callahan Show mornings. Which
easy with that.
What's that? I'm just reading your Twitter bio.
I could sue you for that.
That's on the record. You've put it out there, not me. I'm just saying.
That's a good point. Fine.
But you've been an outspoken proponent of keeping Jackie Bradley Jr. Down in the minors to start the season. I tend to agree with that, but I can see why people would want him to be up there. It seems like he's the best option to play left field, especially Johnny. I think people, Johnny Gomes, I don't think he's an everyday player. You never know with Ellsbury. Anyway, if people haven't read your column, which is silly if they haven't, just explain briefly what your argument is for keeping Jackie Bradley Jr. down.
Yeah, well, I would just say this, Justin. I would say that I think Jackie Bradley Jr. is good enough to play every day for this team right now.
Yeah.
Do I think it's worth punting a full year of club control in 2019 for 9 games, which, by the way, might not even be 9 games? We can assume one rainout right here in the first couple of weeks of the year.
I would guess so, yeah.
Okay, so a full year in his prime under club control for 8 games in 2013, we don't think the club's going to be very good. I swear, I fail to see the argument on the other side. I understand people are excited, and I understand fans want it right now. I totally get that. But it's the job of the club, of the upper management, to take a deep breath and say, listen, we're going to take a hit here. This is going to stink for a couple of weeks. They're going to beat us up. We're going to keep them down and hold on to them. That's our responsibility. And you could say, the other side could say, well, we're not here to make John Henry happy. We're not here to save John Henry money. Well, it's really not a question of that. It's a question of keeping him as long as you can because, by the way, his agent is Scott Boras, which means he's going to go to free agency. You may be able to keep him after that, but he's going to take a dance around, so avoid that for another year versus 8 games. Well, let's be honest. What is 8 games in baseball? You're telling me you plug Nava in there for 8 games? It's going to be a difference over Jack. I just don't buy it.
And I know people go crazy about, he's been lighting it up in spring training. Well, if you look at Cesar Crespo's stats from spring training in 2004, he didn't exactly come out gangbusters and turn into Robin Yount once he made the big club. So you don't even know. I mean, I don't think anybody thinks Jackie Bradley Jr. is going to stink, but I think you're right about keeping him down. Or do you subscribe to the theory that you can just send him down once Ortiz gets healthy, if Ortiz gets healthy?
I think that gets really complicated, Justin, from the perspective that the Red Sox are operating on right now from a public relations perspective. Let's look at it.
Yeah.
So let's say they're in the wild card mix or in the division mix when Ortiz comes back, whenever that is. That might be in 2019 at the end of Bradley. Let's just say that Bradley is hitting .285 with a .360 on-base percentage and playing a really good defensive outfield and playing the kind of exciting baseball that you can tell he's going to play. The fans are going to love this guy, obviously.
Yeah.
He's doing that right there, helping your team. You're going to send him down for 20 days or 15 days or 10 days in the middle of that whole thing? That, to me, is a much tougher sell. Once you've seen it at the big league level, than doing it right now.
To a much lesser extent, though, and different general manager. It was Theo at the time. They kind of did that with Kevin Youkilis, though. Youkilis came up, he went down. He came up, he went down.
Yep.
I mean, he was ready to be up, and they kept doing it. I mean, so I know Ben Cherington was part of that general managership group, but I think. You don't think they'd be willing to do that and just take the PR hit? I know. Well, who knows?
Well, it might be. No, they might be. If they are, good for them. I mean, if they are and they do it right and they spread out, that's fine. I mean, I just think it gets difficult to do, especially if he's really good. I mean, if he turns out he's, let's just say best case scenario, he's a rookie of the year kind of player. You're going to send him down in July? Now you could say, well, if he's a rookie of the year player, you're giving the value now that you might get in 2019. I get that too.
Right.
I do understand that, but I look at it versus 8 games versus 162 games when the guy's a rookie versus when I assume he's going to be right in the middle of his prime. I take the latter one. I do.
Right. We're talking with Kirk Minihane from WEEI, WEEI.com. Go read his stuff and listen to the podcast version. Listen to us in the mornings, and then go podcast Kirk on WEEI.
That's fair. Yeah, that's what I do.
I can't tell people to listen to you because then I'll get fired, and then, Can
I tell you something, Justin? I listen to you. If you probably, I'm on television down there as well. If you watch, or I guess you get television up there as well.
Sometimes.
If you watch, you will see me wearing headphones. But in one of those headphones, I'm listening to you while the Callahan show is going on. Well, it gives me something to do while I'm on that show.
Wow.
I love it. I get 9 minutes every half hour with you. It's fantastic.
I'm sending this transcript to Chad Finn. He's going to have it on his thing tomorrow. No,
there you go.
I would never do that. But let me briefly, we carry the Yankees on WTSN because the big stupid Clear Channel has the Red Sox. But so the Yankees, I think they're in trouble, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Homer Red Sox fan. I don't know what they're going to do. Their rotation looks okay. If Tazawa, however old he is, can. Not Tazawa, I'm sorry. Who am I?
Kuroda, yeah.
Kuroda, Tazawa, Jesus. But yeah, if Kuroda can replicate what he did last year, which who knows, I do think they're in trouble. And I don't think they're 69 wins like the Red Sox last year trouble, but I think they're going to struggle to make the playoffs.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is not a genius bulletin here for me, but if one of the really good pitchers gets hurt, you could see it sinking really fast. Yeah. I mean, basically, in effect, the Red Sox didn't have John Lester last year. John Lester, was basically gone for the year, replaced by somebody who stunk.
It's like Steve Ellsworth.
So, I mean, you're right. If you bring in, Sabathia or Kuroda, go down, you're in trouble. I would just say this, though, for the Yankees. People have been kicking dirt on them for, half a decade now.
Right.
So they always seem to find a way to win, 90, 95 games. So I'll preface it. But I would say this is the most dangerous year yet. Now, here comes the March ifs. If Sabathia, Kuroda, Pettit, Nova, Hughes can kind of, figure it out, the bullpen, I think, is okay, and obviously you have some guys that can do things in life. Again, as with the Red Sox, I think you can find a way to the playoffs for them. I think you find it a little easier, maybe, than the Red Sox. I mean, they did finish 26 games ahead of the Red Sox last year.
That's
but
true.
I would say that, for the first time for me in years, pre-Torrey, you look at this and say, boy, this is really a beat-up team. They're being held together by Band-Aids, and they are really close to coming apart. I don't think anybody looking at it fairly could come to any other conclusion. Again, I don't think they're going to finish fifth. I have them third. But they could finish fifth. They could finish first, too. But, for the first time, I look at them and say, boy, they are really vulnerable.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. Because anybody can finish anywhere. And, I do think Lyle Overbay will make the difference for them, though. I think they'll put them over the top.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, how's everything? Are you and Peralta still, do you guys still hate each other? Or not?
Let me tell you a quick story about him. My friend Elliot had a few pops on a business trip in Florida. Tommy Curran made some tweet, some kind of vague tweet about Tom Brady being mad, maybe not. My friend Elliot, because he was drunk, called him out on it, and then they were arguing for some reason. And then Matt Peralta jumped in and started defending Tommy Curran. So I had to kind of step in and say, why does Tommy Curran need a white knight in the form of you, Sports Talk Matt? So
that was your buddy that night he was going after. I remember I was reading that night. Oh,
yeah, he was.
So what did Peralta say to you?
He pretended he didn't know who I was, which he probably doesn't, which is fair because I work in Dover, New Hampshire. But still. He's riding in on his white horse to save Tommy Curran to try and elevate him.
Tom does okay on his own.
Yeah.
He doesn't need any backup. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, listen. Okay, all right, that's good though, Jesse. You got to stir some crap. I'm telling you got to do that once in a while.
Listen,
you got to stay loose.
No one's going to notice me otherwise, Kirk. I mean, geez.
Right? No, listen. That's why I'm sweeping floors if I'm not doing that. So you got to do that once in a while.
All right, it's Kirk Minihane from WEEI. WEEI.com, and listen to him in podcast form on the Dennis and Callahan show when they let him get word in edgewise. I can say that. You don't have to, Kirk. It's fine. And hey, listen, I'm going to hold you to that coming in to talk wrestling sometime. A whole hour.
We're going to do that. I want a full hour. I'm going to come up to Dover. I want some nice food. I'm sure you got somebody to hook us up. We'll do some wrestling. We'll have a good time.
Listen, you'll get the full tour. We'll go to Dover. We'll go to all the best spots in Rochester, where I'm from, which won't take very long.
Well, I don't want to hang out with you, Justin.
No. If you're in for a dime, you're in for a dollar. That's it.
Oh, God.
All right, Kirk Minihane, thanks for joining us.
See you later.
We appreciate it, man.
All right, buddy.
All right, there he is, Kirk Minihane, WEEI, WEEI.com. On the Dennis and Callahan show, like I said, when they let him speak. And, he joins us every now and then to give his perspective. He's great. We love Kirk. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk to Dr. Fred Brennan from Seacoast Orthopedics and Sports Medicine on McIsaac on Sports.
McIsaac on Sports! We'll be right back on McIsaac on Sports. Don't go anywhere. Can you tell if these vegetables